We were promised that technology would make football completely fair. When FIFA introduced the video assistance referee, VAR, to the World Cup, the pitch was simple. Human error was dead. No more phantom fouls. No more stolen goals. The camera was supposed to be an objective judge, guaranteeing that the rules applied the exact same way to everyone on the pitch. But on July 7th, 2026, Egypt forced a question that the entire footballing world is still arguing about. In the span of 13 minutes, the VAR system made two decisions, two separate incidents, two moments that were measured against the same written standard, handled by the same officials in the same match. The outcomes were not the same. One decision wiped an Egyptian goal off the board. The other let Argentina score the winner. And when you look at the timestamps, when you look at what actually happened on the pitch, the gap between those two calls is not just controversial. It's the difference between a level playing field and a rigged one. This is how the World Cup robbed Egypt. But to feel the full weight of what happened in Atlanta, you need to know what Egypt had already survived to get there. In 2026, this squad made history before they even reached the knockout stages. They won Egypt's first ever FIFA World Cup match, ending decades of hurt in a single afternoon against New Zealand. They won through the group stage undefeated. Then, in the round of 32 in Dallas, they survived 120 minutes of brutal extra time against Australia and won a penalty shootout 4-2, with Mohamed Salah stepping up under the heaviest possible pressure and burying his shot. Their reward for all of this was a round of 16 collision with the reigning champions of the world. And the question that was about to define Egyptian football history and the VAR debate was already forming in the review room in Geneva before the first ball was even kicked in Atlanta. On July 7th of 2026, the world's attention turned to Atlanta Stadium in Georgia. Their narrative was completely binary. On one side, Argentina, the defending World Cup champions, led by Lionel Messi. On the other, Egypt, the ultimate underdog, built on grit, defensive discipline, and the sheer brilliance of Mohamed Salah. Every global analyst predicted a comfortable Argentine victory. The expectation was that Argentina would monopolize possession, suffocate the Egyptian midfield, and put the game out of reach early. Osama Hassan's squad did not read the script. Egypt defended brilliantly and hurt Argentina on the counter with every attack they had. Dominating possession means nothing if you do nothing with it. In the 14th minute, against a run of play, Egypt earned a set piece. The ball was whipped into the Argentine penalty area. Egypt was leading the world champions 1-0. Argentina immediately launched a furious retaliation. The relentless pressure forced a defensive error, and in the 20th minute, the referee pointed to the spot. Penalty to Argentina. Messi stepped up. Egyptian goalkeeper Mustafa produced the save of his life, diving perfectly to deny the Argentine captain. The psychological shift inside that stadium was immediate and violent. Egypt wasn't just surviving. They were actively frustrating and dismantling the Argentina game plan. The first half ended 1-0 to Egypt, and somewhere in the VAR room in Geneva, the officials were already watching the replays. As the second half began, Argentina threw everything forward. Osama Hassan made a strategic change, bringing Hamdi Fathi on for Imam Ashur in the 45th minute to reinforce the defensive block. Then, in the 58th minute, the match descended in a pure controversy. Egypt launched a counterattack. The ball moved fluidly through the midfield, and they found the back of the net. The Egyptian bench exploded. The entire stadium believed it was 2-0. But before the match could restart, the VAR room in Geneva instructed French referee Francois Letexier to halt play and proceed to the monitor. Here is the exact timeline, because this is where everything starts to matter. According to FIFA's guidelines, VAR can review a foul committed by the attacking team that directly leads to a goal. The referee didn't see anything in real time. The VAR did. Upon reviewing the footage, Letexier determined that Egyptian midfielder Marwan Attia had stepped on Argentine defender Lisandro Martinez's foot in the build-up, calling back the goal for that. A player stepping on another player's foot on the other side of the pitch felt like a crazy call in the moment. It absolutely looked like the ref was playing against them. But here is where the argument has to be precise, because precision is exactly what Egypt's case depends on. The foul existed. That was never actually the debate. The debate was whether an 18-second chain of 4 separate passes could possibly make that foul the direct cause of the goal, and whether FIFA would ever apply the same standard to both teams. The challenge occurred at exactly 57 minutes and 33 seconds. The goal was scored 18 full seconds later. During those 18 seconds, Egypt retained complete possession. The ball was passed between 4 different Egyptian players before crossing the line. Despite the length of time and the multiple phases of possession, Letexier blew his whistle, awarded the foul, and wiped the goal off the board. This decision was heavily criticized. While technically within the letter of the law regarding the attacking phase of play, reaching back nearly 20 seconds through 4 separate passes to find a subjective foul felt like a desperate search for a reason to cancel the goal. Instead of a commanding 2-0 lead, Egypt was dragged back into a 1-0 dogfight. Their psychological momentum had been artificially halted by the officials. But here's the thing, Egypt responded. Despite the crushing weight of the disallowed goal, the Egyptian squad refused to break. Their defensive structure held. In the 66th minute, they struck again. Mustafa Ziko broke free and slotted home a brilliant goal. This time, there was no whistle, no VAR intervention. Egypt officially led 2-0. With only 24 minutes remaining in regulation, the reigning World Cup champions were staring directly into the abyss of elimination. Argentine manager Lionel Scaloni made desperate substitutions, throwing Lautaro Martinez and Nicolas Gonzalez onto the pitch to overload the Egyptian penalty area. And then, the physical reality of the tournament caught up with Egypt. It's important to say this clearly, because it's true, and because it actually makes what happens next more devastating, not less. Egypt's backline collapsed under pressure. The 2-2 wasn't stolen from them, it was conceded. In the 78th minute, Argentine center back Cristiano Romero broke free during a scramble in the box and cut the deficit to 2-1. 4 minutes later, Messi found a sliver of space on the edge of the area and leveled it at 2-2. In 4 minutes, the historic lead was gone. The Egyptian players were running on absolutely empty. Their legs had nothing left. But the match wasn't over, and what happened next had nothing to do with tired legs. As the match entered stoppage time, the tension inside Atlanta Stadium was at a level you couldn't describe if you weren't there. At exactly 91 minutes and 40 seconds, Argentine defender Alexis Mac Allister made forceful contact with Mohamed Salah inside the Egyptian penalty area. A heavy challenge that caught Salah across the body and sent him crashing to the turf. Simultaneously, on the edge of the box in the same build-up, a second physical challenge on an Egyptian player went uncalled. The entire Egyptian squad screamed for a penalty. At the absolute minimum, it was a moment that demanded a VAR review. Referee Francois Letexier aggressively waved play on, ignoring every appeal. Because the whistle was not blown, Argentina immediately collected the loose ball and launched a counterattack. They moved it up the pitch, as the Egyptian defense, disorganized by the uncalled foul on their captain, scrambled to recover. Exactly 14 seconds after the challenge on Salah, Argentine midfielder Enzo Fernandez arrived in the box and scored a header, 3-2 to Argentina. This is the exact moment where the integrity of the officiating collapsed, not because of emotion, because of numbers. Let's compare the two incidents using the exact same criteria. In the 58th minute, VAR instructed the referee to review a foul that occurred 18 seconds before an Egyptian goal, across a chain of 4 passes. Goal disallowed. And a highly controversial physical challenge on an Egyptian player inside the penalty box, 14 seconds before Argentina scored, across a chain of 3 passes, was not reviewed. Not the challenge as a foul on Salah. Not the challenge as an attacking build-up foul under the exact same protocol that cancelled Egypt's goal. Nothing. When the Egyptian bench protested and asked for a VAR review, they were given yellow cards. The foul on Martinez and the foul on Salah are equivalent incidents under the same written standard. If you believe one is a foul, you have to believe the other is too. And that's why the footballing world reacted the way it did. It wasn't just frustration at a bad call. It was the fact that both decisions, in the same match by the same officials, benefited the same team. And it wasn't isolated to those 2 moments. The broader refereeing across the match was scrutinized heavily, missed fouls, ignored yellow cards, one specific challenge that against any other team on any other night would have been a straight red card. The pattern made it look less like human error and more like something else entirely. Minutes later, the final whistle, Argentina 3-2. The Egyptian players collapsed onto the grass of Atlanta. When a video review system reached back 18 seconds to cancel a goal for the tournament favorites, but explicitly refused to reach back 14 seconds to investigate a penalty that produced the winning goal against the underdog, VAR stops being a fairness tool. It becomes a tool for subjective manipulation. The overall world reaction was absolutely furious. In the post-match interviews, the Egyptian players didn't hide anything. Mustafa Ziko openly accused the tournament of being fixed. Head coach Hassam Hassan, a legendary figure in Egyptian football, told reporters that the officiating was so corrupt, he would never watch the World Cup again. Mohamed Salah took a more measured approach. He posted on social media addressing the fans directly. "I know you're still upset, but I promise you that I'll do everything in my power to ensure this marks a fresh start for Egyptian football on the international stage. Qualifying for the World Cup won't be enough, and just participating won't cut it either. This team deserves your trust." The Egyptian Football Association was not willing to let the issue die quietly. Following the defeat, the EFA submitted an official complaint directly to FIFA. FIFA, operating firmly within their bureaucratic comfort zone, defended the officiating review. They claimed the protocols were followed correctly and rejected any notion of systematic bias. For millions of fans across the globe, that explanation felt completely scripted. The video evidence was right there. The standard applied to Egypt was explicitly different to the standard applied to Argentina. No statement was going to change what the footage showed. Ultimately, the story of Egypt's 2026 FIFA World Cup campaign is a heartbreaking duality. On one hand, it's a story of miraculous triumph. This squad rewrote history. They won their first World Cup match ever. For 78 minutes in Atlanta, they systematically dismantled the defending champion of the world. No refereeing decision can erase what this team did for Egyptian football, but their campaign will forever serve as a case study into the fatal flaw of modern officiating. So did the World Cup rob Egypt? The statistics, the video evidence, and the clear inconsistency in how VAR was applied strongly suggest they did. But while they were robbed of a quarterfinal appearance, they were not robbed of their dignity. They left the tournament having earned the respect of the entire footballing world, and they're not done yet.